But yeah, anyways, let's just get started. Do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
I mean, I'm in your house, so
Yeah, so you're a guest.
so you're gonna question what I'm doing first.
I am?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Anyways, Ryan, now that we're starting, just like give a quick introduction of yourself. So, not where you're from, but I guess your experiences in athletic therapy and what you've done as like a first responder. And I mean, there's only so much experience we both have, but yeah, just say what you have.
Well, I'm Ryan. Nice to meet you. I am a second year athletic therapy student entering my third year, and I have done my placement with university level soccer, currently doing high school level football,
Nice.
and I'm working at a clinic as well. I'm going to be doing some volleyball towards the end of summer, and then
Mm-hmm.
next year I'll be doing college level basketball.
Wow.
So a little bit here and there. I also did some flag football along the way.
Yeah.
I wonder who gave me that that one. Some volleyball as well, and ultimate frisbee, and I did some kendo as well in the meantime. So
Wow.
some various sports, but enjoyed them all, and we're just looking forward to get better with each one. And
Nice.
what about you, Isabel?
Before I start, you know when you're watching games and then you see players like stat padding?
Yeah.
That's you. As you kept going on and on about like what you've done, I'm like, wow. Not that like any of this, not like any of the information is new to me,
Yeah.
but I guess like hearing it all at once, I'm like, that's a lot.
I got my triple doubles.
That's crazy. What a way to like reference that or put that analogy during NBA playoffs.
Oh my God, but go for it. What's your stat line?
My style line. Well, this past year, well, again, I'm also like a second year athletic therapy student. We're in the same cohort, so I guess that's
Crazy.
pretty self-explanatory. But this past year, or within my second year, I was working with collegiate level rugby, mostly like the women's rugby team, and I also have experience working as like a first responder for some football teams, so not necessarily flag football, but mostly like tackle football. Um, and I've worked like some field coverages for like basketball tournaments and soccer tournaments, and within the upcoming month, actually like next week, I'm gonna be working with the Argos as like my internship, and in the I guess like next year or like this upcoming September for our third year placement, I'll be working at a university level. I don't know which sport or which team yet, but that's something for me to find out later this year or later this summer.
Wow, and I was the one stat padding.
I feel like I'm missing something, but I I can't
I mean,
remember
with all
right
your
now.
football stuff, you've seen enough. You've seen enough.
I've seen, yeah, yeah. I guess with like football and rugby, it's very like heavy contact, which like I love. Like I love how heavy contact it is because like there's not a dull moment, and also like everyone who works within like those kind of sports or teams, you get a like a trauma bonding kind of experience. You know, like every time I do interviews or like talk to someone else who has worked as like a first responder or like they're an athletic therapist for a sports team like that, it's like you know what I've been through. You understand. And I mean like you're going through it right now.
You get me. It's funny, you've always been like this since grade six. Like
Really?
football,
Oh
like
yeah,
flag
that's
football,
true.
yeah. So like I remember when we first met in elementary school, it was just like, yo, this girl knows basketball, this girl knows football, like what? She knows music? Like what else doesn't she know?
Tell me you grew up with three older brothers without telling me you grew up with three older brothers.
Yeah, but you were always the athlete as a kid, and like even though we didn't go to the same high school, like when we I guess we reunited at the
Yeah.
poutine place near,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we kind of just like, so she's back at it with the sports.
I don't think I ever left. But also like we'd keep in contact throughout high school
Yeah,
too.
of
I
course.
remember like through Twitter. That was so funny. Those were wild times.
Not even through Instagram DMs or getting your number. It was
That was so
Twitter
funny.
DMs.
It's like, hey, how's it going? Want to catch up?
No, but that's really cool, and I love how we also just ended up in the same school,
Hmm.
same program, and now together in athletic therapy. I think that's just a wild journey that we've been on.
That's so crazy. I think it's crazy that like we caught up at that poutine place by like grade 12 and we're like, "Hey, like what's up? Like where are you going next year?" "Oh, no way. Like me too." That's literally how the
Yeah,
conversation went.
literally how that went.
Yeah, no, it was fun. And it was I also think it's kind of crazy because like throughout high school, I would like summer school at like different high schools just to get like extra credit or like just accelerate that kind of sense. And like I would see your friends or like I would become
Yes,
friends
I
with them and
remember.
Scarborough.
Small world, small
I
world.
know, I know.
And then as we went through it, we did first year together, we did
Hmm.
second year together, and then we were like, AT sounds pretty cool. Well, that was my
Yeah,
mindset.
same.
So AT sounds pretty cool. Why not go for it? And I guess we're lucky enough to both have gotten in.
Hmm.
And first year was a breeze. We first responded together. Coincidentally, like
Wait.
the profs didn't even know we were tight like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And now here we were, charge and
I know.
call
Well,
control
no, it
person, you
was
know?
funny because like all the partners were randomized, which was so funny. And when I think it was our friend that kind of just told us like, "Hey, you guys are partnered together," and we're like, "Let's go."
Let's
And then
go.
the first thing we did was like dap each other up.
We knew it. We knew. Instant bond, you know?
Yeah. What was our name? Because it was like kind of set up
Oh,
as like a fantasy league. I think it was like
man, it's
Menace
just
to Society,
society, bro.
which is so ironic because we're first responders.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be menaces.
If anything, we're menaces to the injuries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
We scare the injuries off.
I guess that's one way to put it. That's a little
What was the other
corny.
name? What was the other name?
Whoa,
Just like
just
Mike?
like Mike. Like the movie, like Mike.
Yeah, I like that. I like that
That
one.
only came up afterwards.
It's
And
okay.
we couldn't change
You
it.
know, it's okay. It's
It's
okay.
okay.
We stuck with menaces,
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
know.
okay with that. I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
Same.
So, the big question though, why did you stick in the program of AT? Because we know there was a lot of ups and downs
Mhm.
these last 2 years, and we we've lived through it together,
Yeah.
right? So, why are you still here, and what makes you passionate about continuing this profession?
That's a heavy question.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, like, I don't think this program is for the weak. There's a lot that you have to go through, but you also have to like think about what are you willing to sacrifice. And I think at the end of the day for me, like I just love being around sports and like you literally mentioned this like 2 minutes ago saying how like I've always been about sports and I can't really imagine myself being in a profession outside of that. And I also like love the rehab and health sense of it and like as much as I was an athlete like growing up, I also know like the the chances of like making it out into like high performance sport, especially like I play flag football for context for people who are listening and like as a growing and developing sports like you never know where that's going to take you or even if there's chances along the way to like make it out there. And like I love that I'm seeing it develop and how more girls are, finding pathways into it. Um I personally didn't have that kind of opportunity. And so like trying to navigate like a career path to stay in the field, that's what like keeps me here. And I also like I love working with people. Like I can't imagine like sitting at a desk all day and just like typing up work. Like I need to move and I love how chaotic it gets sometimes. Like again, it's like what are you willing to sacrifice? And there is a lot of like time commitment, but you learn so much from this program and what you get out of it too. I think like because you're also like an athlete, you play sports and you always want to know what's going
Yeah.
on and like I can't help but feel like a little helpless or at least like before we entered the program. It just felt like I was a little helpless when people would get injured and I had no idea what to do. Now I feel like so much more confident in terms of like how to help people and like getting people back onto the field. I think that's like so fulfilling and that's kind of where I'm at right now.
A plus answer.
Thanks. It's not. I never did communications.
I guess for me, um, I loved watching sports growing up. Um, being like someone who wasn't the most athletic or fastest or whatever on the field, it always came down to my IQ, just
Mhm.
knowing how to help the star player or just, just doing everything I can as a role player type of
Yeah.
role. And that was okay with me because I just enjoyed the winning aspect of sports. But then it started getting to a point where my body was like crumbling under the playing the support role, and I got injured quite a bit
Yeah.
playing basketball, playing ultimate. So I kind of just realized if I can't do what I'm good at, which is helping my team, what other ways can I help my team? And that's kind of led me down towards kinesiology. Like I wanted to do physio,
Yeah.
maybe do paramedicine. But then when AT rolled around, I was like, let's give this a shot. It sounds pretty cool,
Yeah.
for the vibes, for the culture.
For the culture.
And then got in, and then I started realizing I'm okay at this. I'm not bad at this thing,
Pretty okay.
I'm pretty okay at it. And then I think it got to a point where sticking was not because I was in too deep already, but more just like I really liked what I was doing. I enjoy helping people. Like that's one of my passions. I know a lot of people who want to help others, but they don't know how. I
Yeah.
think at this point in my life, I know that I have the knowledge and skill set to help certain people, whether it just be something they've been sustaining or chronic injuries or conditions they might be experiencing since time. And for me, it's just like, yeah, I have a background in this. I have some knowledge in this. Let me see if I can help you with that.
Hmm.
And it's kind of led me down to a path where entering my third year, and I have an idea of what I want to do after AT, like maybe definitely continuing more school, getting more certifications, and hopefully we can help more and more people along the way. I think it just speaks to me, like it reflects my character as a
Yeah.
person as well. And honestly, I've just really enjoyed the people. I think the
Yeah.
people have convinced me to stick in the program as well.
Mhm.
It's just I think a lot of the people you meet at York, at least in our cohort,
Yeah.
was good
Uh-huh.
vibes, good characters, and they've kind of helped me be keep that decision and not leaving. And let's see what how we can improve, how we can continue this trajectory in our life, you know?
Hmm.
So, um,
There's a lot of personality involved in this career.
there
Did
is
you realize this when you're going through, like, when you meet new people and you're trying to get jobs and, like, positions and everything? When you're getting interviewed, it's a lot of personality-based questions because it really just matters how you interact with people. And I didn't mention this before, but, like, I think it's so fulfilling, like, working in this field, knowing that you help that person get back to, like, the community that they love.
for
And
sure.
I think like you know what it's like to be out of commission in terms of like being out of the game. Like
I
it's
mean,
so yeah. I mean, I don't think our listeners know, but um yeah, like it's so frustrating like being on the sideline, and I think it you play a bigger role than you'd think
Mhm,
when you help someone get back onto the field. And there's a lot of like support in that kind of sense, which I think is super fulfilling. And something else like that would stay in the back of my mind is just like knowing the kind of power that athletes have as like a social
mhm.
identity, and how that can help with like not only in like the sports realm but like kind of seeing it in a political view too. There's so much like that happens in like media and social aspects. You don't understand like, or you, I guess you do understand um how much their position on the field can also play a role in like how their political views can kind of like gauge interest and like their fans, I
Yeah,
guess.
definitely. It's
So people like players like LeBron James.
my
I
king.
yeah. I think people of that caliber, they obviously have to reach a certain level of performance in order to like gravitate, or in order for fans to like gravitate towards them. And if they have something good to say, then people will listen to them. And yeah, I guess just like helping athletes get to that position, I think is really cool.
I think it's just having that connection with athletes.
Yeah.
Athletes know how much trainers and therapists do for them, whereas the rest of the world it's kind of it's a little more low key, which
Mm-hmm.
is kind of why I want to bring up this next part. Can you explain what athletic therapy is? Since I don't think all of our listeners would understand, and sometimes I myself like, am I doing the right thing here?
Am I doing this right? How would I describe it? When people ask me, like when I was treating in clinic and like they would ask me like, "Oh, so like what do you do?" I think a good way to put it, this is actually something my supervisor said at the time. It's like a mix of being a paramedic and a physiotherapist,
I
but
like that.
it's more directed towards people who play sports.
Mhm.
That's
That's
kind of like an easy way to put it.
that's a really that's a really easy way for people to understand what we
Yeah.
do. And if I could just put it in my terms, it's a person who likes sports that helps people who get injured.
Yeah, pretty much.
But basically that's all we do. We when people go down, when athletes go down, we're there on on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
We assess, we discover what's up, and then we treat.
Yeah.
And then we see that amazing progression from the start of the injury to the end of the injury, and we're just hoping for positive results the whole time. And it's just really satisfying to see them progress from the start stages to the end stages, and you're just like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah. Well, that's the difference between the paramedic side and then the physio side, even though
Exactly.
we're not physios. But first responding is like a big aspect. That's pretty much all we do on field.
Hmm.
Not all we do on
A
field,
lot of what we do on
but
field.
that's pretty much what we're there for. That's why we're certified bench warmers. We just
Yes, sir.
we just sit and watch what happens. And if someone goes down, the first thing we do
We're
is
there.
first respond. We're
We're
the
there.
first person there. Hopefully. And yeah, like I think a lot of it comes down to like decision making, deciding what to do, whether we need to call like extra support, and that's why this program is so vigorous because there's a lot of gravity in the decisions that you make,
Hmm.
especially on the field. As much as like half the time we're just sitting there, the moment they need us, they need us. And that's where a lot of our training comes in, and that's why you can't really proceed to go forward without your first responder. um, but yeah, like after that, you get to see the whole rehab process, and more times you are in charge of
Yeah.
like the player progressions, deciding what to do for each person in terms of their treatment and what exercises to prescribe them and suggest to them. And you can also bring it from like a clinic to a field
Yeah.
sense, which is like my favorite part. Honestly, I start drooling when I get to
Oh my
this
God.
stage because it's so much fun. I love like pushing my athletes
Mhm.
to like get back onto the field, and so sometimes it would mean like bringing them to the sideline. So even if they're technically out, they'll be on the sideline, so they're still involved with the team. Um, so they see
Mhm.
like how practices are still being run. They're not like
Yeah.
completely away from the game, but just getting them from like the sideline and then back onto the field, I think is super great.
And I just love how I loved your answer, first of all. It was very in depth. But Isabel's right. Like everything we do, we're there from start to finish. Physios are there from the midpoint till the end.
Hmm.
Paramedics are only from the start to the midpoint. We're just there the whole time, and our athletes, to a point, they trust us. Hopefully they like us as well. Otherwise, they wouldn't trust us.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, it's just really fulfilling to know that you are the best, most qualified person to take care of anything. Like this job keeps us on our toes,
Hmm.
right?
Definitely.
Yeah. But and with it comes a lot of struggles,
Yeah.
which we're hoping that with this podcast we can kind of highlight,
Yeah.
and discuss to encourage and educate everyone about this amazing profession that we're in. So I think just being passionate about athletic therapy and podcasts. I know both you and I are podcast fanatics.
Yeah.
I think it just you put two and two together, you realized, yeah, I think this is a really good idea to just talk it through and teach other people and have discussions about this profession that we are, I guess, in too deep right now.
Yeah, we are a little bit.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
which, to be fair, I don't mind.
Yeah, no. it's a it's a good struggle. It's a good struggle to have. And also like that's the whole point of this podcast to really like show the raw stuff that happens like behind the scenes because there's so much glory that people kind of see as an athletic therapist where it's like oh my gosh you get to work with professional sports you have a chance of like getting a ring and there's so much glory with that but you don't understand what happens behind that. There's so much struggle that happens behind it and a lot of like mental work,
For sure.
stress, and I think like what we want to highlight throughout these episodes is like pretty much things we would probably want to know before entering the program. I know there's like a bunch of people who are in like first and second year who want to like get into the program but they have no idea like
Yeah.
what it's about. And I
And
think like you should be well aware of like what's going on in order for you to like enter the program.
yeah, entering my third year at York, didn't know anything about athletic therapy, even
Mhm.
though I was in it. So it's I think having this podcast could be a kind of a pathway or a leeway into like what we do and whether it's the right choice for you, you know? So I guess that's kind of it kind of drives us into our next my next question. Can you tell me the differentiation between York's athletic therapy program compared to like Sheridan or wherever else they have it, you know?
Mhm.
Like what do you think makes us so special?
Uh I can't really speak on Sheridan's program because I don't know like too much about it. I just know that they have like different classes. Like I know they have a modalities class, a manual therapy class, we don't really get taught any of that. Um, and a lot of it comes with like learning on the fly. And so what makes us different is that it's very case study based. And I believe that's how like some physio programs are now. So like McMaster has a physio program where it's very case study based, and that's how we learn. So basically we're presented a case and we're in groups or tutorials of like 8 to 10 people, hopefully. And essentially, we kind of like dissect every single part of it. So we'll have like the mechanism of injury and then what their symptoms are. And as you get into like or as you transition from like first to second year, the cases will change from like field to clinic and then getting a mix of both. And that's pretty much how you learn and kind of like have the foundation with field stuff before getting into clinic. And then that's kind of like that's kind of how we learn. And then we have labs that very much align with what we're learning in the case study. So that way, when we're doing our research, at least it's like up to date and we're pretty much learning like the relevant stuff because like I know you have the orthopedic assessment.
Yeah.
Like there are millions of assessments and do we really need to know all of them? Maybe not. Like we can learn how to just manual muscle test as long as we learn like the anatomy and know like our foundations as long as it's like relevant and as long as it makes sense. I think that's kind of like the gist of how we learn. And a lot of it's very research based. So, because that's one of the pillars in terms of like our career as like an athletic therapist is like learning how to stay up to date with current literature and also being critical of it as well. So that's why when we have like our critical appraisals, we review certain articles and we really have to read it and see like, oh, does this make sense? Is it relevant for like the population that we're dealing with? So I would say that's how we differentiate from like other programs. We're very like research based.
And I actually love that. Making our stuff very much more, I guess, personable with each
Mhm.
other rather than lecture based,
Yeah.
it actually make you grasp and use the information a lot more.
Mhm.
For example, I didn't know a whole lot of anatomy coming
Yeah.
into the program. And
Mhm.
that's because in my second year, I took the anatomy course, which was just basic human anatomy, your
Yeah.
muscles, bones, systems, and it kind of got me like just memorizing the
Yeah.
stuff. I didn't really understand palpations. I didn't
Mhm.
understand origin insertion all that well. But as you get into the program and you learn from it, you realize, yo, I actually need to like to learn this
Yeah.
stuff. Otherwise, I won't be able to do
You
anything.
won't know anything.
Yeah.
It's functional anatomy. That's what we learn.
Yeah, and it's the anatomy is your map
Mm-hmm.
to the human body. If you know the map, you know the way.
Yeah.
And if you know the way, you know how to help.
Yeah.
So I think that's the best way I can put this class or put this program because everything you learn in this program, you will use somehow, some way down the road.
Yeah.
That doesn't say the same for, that doesn't mean the other classes I've taken are bad or not usable by any means. It kind of goes to show that the stuff we learn in this program is usable right the minute you get on the field or in the clinic.
It's applicable.
Yeah,
And it sticks with you.
exactly. So people who are studying for like these high level exams, they might have to put in a few more extra hours just to get the
Mm-hmm.
anatomy down, maybe the biomechanics of certain joints and stuff. Whereas us, we use this on a daily.
Yeah.
So being able to learn on the fly, being able to understand stuff instantly or maybe a few more hours compared to someone else, is just wow. Like, I love how everything's just being absorbed like a sponge rather than grinding hours without actually understanding the content in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So I
So,
learn a lot better in this program, and I think a lot more people actually would as well if they actually gave it a chance.
yeah. So, I agree. I agree. But it's also like building the experience to get into the program in the first place. So, understanding like what it's about and also like there's also like prerequisites you need before entering the program. So like people who do want to get into the program, they have to be well aware of like what they need. But yeah, how would you describe like the snowball effect from like first, second, and third year? Like how does that information or knowledge accumulate?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because first year was like no field. Like it was all theoretical knowledge in a
Yeah.
way. Sure, we had labs, sure, we
Mm-hmm.
had first responder, but honestly, a lot of what you're doing in first year is just understanding the body. Because they're not gonna throw you onto the field with little to no idea of what you'll be dealing with. Say you're working basketball
Mm-hmm.
and someone goes down with an ankle sprain, and you being a first year, you're freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to deal with ankle sprain. I don't know how to manage someone who might be, I don't know if it's fractured or not. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then assessment wise, I don't know what ligament am I testing for. Is it even a ligament? Like, so and having first year being all theoretical, I
Mm-hmm.
think is super helpful because it helped me kind of understand what I was might be dealing with
Mm-hmm.
could come up. That's where your epidemiology comes from. That's where knowing your lab skills, lab assessments comes from. And overall, first year was a very it's not as difficult as I thought it would be,
Mm-hmm.
but I learned a whole lot, even though I didn't have field, if I can put it that
Really?
way. Yeah.
I felt like first year was like the biggest learning curve I've had within like my university career. Just because it was like a new way of learning.
Oh, definitely. No, that
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
I liked it. I liked how it was like self-directed, and I really enjoyed how like we had autonomy over what we had to learn to an extent. Like we obviously have our instructors guiding us in terms of like what to learn and avoiding like rabbit holes. But yeah, I would say like first year was it was good. Like I think I don't know if like the other first years, like the year below us, I don't know if they had observation hours, but I know we did. And I thought that was like pretty good in the sense of like getting a grasp of what it's like to work in field without having to work in field because you're really just watching what the second and third
You're
years do.
shadowing.
Yeah, you're shadowing and you get an idea of like what it's like.
Yeah, and then from there, having watched your upper ears do certain tasks that you haven't learned and done
Hmm.
yet, it kind of gets you to a point where you're like, oh, so that's me next year.
Yeah, yeah,
And it kind of, for me at least, it opened up a pathway or an idea of what level of first responder, what level of therapist I should be when I became a second year.
yeah.
And I think those shadowing hours, since I did football and basketball,
Hmm.
that really helped me become a pretty okay first responder
Yeah,
entering second year, you know?
yeah.
So it was just like a good transition, helping knowing the theoretical knowledge to
Mm-hmm.
follow by the shadowing time. I think overall it's just like, yeah, I I I think I can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then second year's a whole different story.
Well, shout out to the upper years. I feel like I learned so much from them from like my first year.
Yeah.
That's when I first learned how to like tape an ankle. I was shadowing for rugby, and I just think it's ironic that I ended up working rugby. The following
Fate.
year, yeah, I know it's fate, it's field work. I love field work, but yeah, I think it was very cool to like see how sideline assessments would
Oh,
work.
for sure.
Getting to see like a SCAT 5 at the time, and like how different hip assessments would work because I was watching my upper year do like a whole hip assessment or low back assessment, and in my head, like my mind was blown. I was like, how do you know all of this? And here we are.
And I think just seeing second and third years at the time do it as
Mhm.
a first year, going into second year, you realize it's way more than it was just shown, you know,
Mhm.
because you go into a lot more like more I guess core
Yeah.
muscles, core vertebra,
Hmm.
and then you had your placement on top of that, and you
It's a
have
lot.
it's a lot more, yeah. And sometimes I didn't even see any of my other friends that I frequently saw, except you. I saw you a lot.
Yeah, I know.
I saw like the people I saw in first year a whole lot. I didn't really, yeah, they weren't around that much because everyone was traveling to
Mhm.
get to their schools, get to their teams, and obviously it's nice to know that everyone is doing okay, you know?
Yeah.
But it was just also the sense that wow, everyone's actually moving up the ranks now. Everyone's doing their own thing with their own teams now. So
Yeah.
it was cool though.
Mhm.
I'd say that. Yeah.
It really is, and I think it just comes down to like adulting, and getting a busy schedule and learning what it's really like to be on the job or get a sense of it without actually having to be in a job and like be at that kind of risk. Because when we're doing these placements, this is like our time to like make mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, don't be afraid to like fail and fall forward, if that makes sense.
Yeah. They don't expect us to be perfect, and the athletes don't expect you to be perfect
Mm,
because you're students still.
yeah.
And that's what I love about second year, to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
because I made a lot of mistakes.
It's okay.
Yeah, and that was completely okay with my head therapist, that was
Mm-hmm.
okay with my coaches, and that
Mm-hmm.
was okay with my supervisors. Because at the end of the day, as long as they didn't like do any more harm,
Yeah.
we're in the clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, you're gonna have some situations where you beat yourself a little too hard. I know I did.
Same.
But we didn't, we're still in the program,
Yeah.
so we're okay.
It really comes down to like how much compassion you're allowing yourself
Yes.
and how much everyone else is allowing for you. I was very lucky to like work with a team. Oh, they were such a great group. I honestly love them. And I wish them the best for like their future endeavors, but I really lucked out like with my first placement in terms of like having a great coaching staff and like a great group of girls to work with who were very patient and very understandable. So I imagine like you had the same kind of
Yeah,
experience too.
shout out my soccer team.
Yeah.
Well, soccer teams, I guess. I got to work with both women's soccer and men's soccer at my placement, and they're just a group of great people.
Mhm.
They were very patient with me, and towards the end of the season, I got to develop some really strong connections
Yeah.
with a lot of them. So, you know, shout out the soccer teams that I worked with. Love them.
What do you think is like the hardest part about second year?
Definitely the time management.
Mm-hmm.
I remember first year it was just like la di da, you know, I can leave my learning objective, my LO until the night before. Not anymore.
Yeah.
While I still did that from time to time, it was more of like if I don't do this now, I won't get any sleep. And if I don't get any sleep, I won't be ready for practice.
Yeah.
So I kind of needed to learn how to adjust my schedule accordingly. And I was still taking a full course load at the time. I
Mm-hmm.
was still commuting to and from school. I was still working out. Like it was just a whole lot of other stuff that you need to do on top of your placement. Then you have to realize like, oh, it's a lot to be
Yeah.
honest. But at the end of the day, I think those that survive second year, you kind of realize how to time manage. And Would you say your time management has improved since the start of the season, start of the year?
Mm, I'm not too sure.
Okay.
I feel like it stayed the same. Honestly, like I was a little like burnt out for like a little bit of the season because we were traveling like every weekend, and it was a lot like being out all the time, and like just because I did an external placement, I was the only therapist so I had to be there for like all of the practices and also doing like 6 hours of clinic, which is like double
Yeah.
that.
Double us, yeah.
Yeah, and it was a lot because there's also like that learning curve for like clinic that was happening as well. So just a lot of like mental fatigue. Um, but I would say like as the yeah, you're right. Like as the semester went on and going from like fall to winter, I just like ended up like having a better flow with everything. Everything was a lot calmer. I didn't have to stay up as much. But personally, if it's like 12:30 a.m. or 1 a.m., I'm like, I'm turning off my laptop. I'm going to sleep. I don't think I really like my sleep. And I don't, there's only like some times where I'd like stay up to finish work, but more times I wouldn't worry
Yeah.
too much about it. Um, but yeah, I would say like it just became like more calm
Yeah.
like throughout the year. I was learning how to like not I don't want to say like my time management got better. I think it stayed the same, but like my schedule just got like lighter.
I think for me, I just got better at managing
Hmm.
myself, my what I needed to do, and the requirements for me. So say there's some days are going to be longer than
Yeah.
others, whether just because of a few extra injuries that happen or a few extra sideline management stuff that you need to do, it's going to be longer. But as you learn the proper flow
Yeah.
or getting to stuff quicker than I guess scheduled or planned, I think for me it got to a point where I'm sleeping at 12:30, 1 a.m. normally now. I'm getting my 6, 7 hours of sleep. I'm happy.
It gets easier.
Yes,
It
it
gets
definitely gets
easier.
easier, yeah. But I guess like knowing how to time management was like a huge thing for me from first to second year.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say we're not third years just yet,
No.
but I'd say it could be the same thing for second to third year since now you're devoting maybe like 60 or 70% of your time
Hmm.
to placement now since you're done classes. You
Yeah.
only have one tutorial a week
Yeah.
and you're not really required to be anywhere else except with your team or where your placement would be,
Yeah.
right? So definitely we'll have to see what as the year progresses, but I don't think the learning curve or like the managing sense will be that big
Yeah. Hmm.
this for this coming season, you know?
We know what to expect, and I think
Exactly.
that's the biggest thing from like or the biggest jump from first to second year is like you're learning everything at once. Everything is new to you. Traveling every weekend, like travel fatigue is real. It's real. And you don't really know it until you
Yeah.
experience it, but like going into like third year, you know what to expect. You know how to handle yourself at least in clinic. So your flow is better. It's already established and you know what to do on field. I think like in your second year, you're so new to like being the first responder. Um, and honestly, like it's scary. It's
It is
scary.
scary, yeah.
But you get like as you get more reps in, it just becomes easier and yeah, like I think that's just a way I'd put it. I don't think it gets easier, you just become better at it.
Yes, that is very true.
Yeah.
Because from time to time, there's still going to be something that you might second guess yourself on, or you might be, did I do this correctly? But it's like I said earlier, at the end of the day, you're still the most qualified person on that field, or at least one of the top people to manage everything on the field. And if you freak out, your athlete freaks out.
Yeah.
So put that poker face on and just do your thing, you know.
Hmm.
Go out there and do what you can and if needed you always have second advice.
Hmm.
I remember calling you for a second opinion from time to time after like sideline assessments and stuff, and you've done the same with me in the car as well. So it's like just everyone around you wants you to succeed and you
Hmm.
want everyone around you to succeed.
Hmm.
It's a very uplifting environment, and I think everyone is just very uh willing to see everyone push forward and do the rest.
Yeah, I definitely think so. It's not like aside from like other STEM programs where there's like that kind of demeanor or essence where like everyone's competing with each other. This program's very different in the sense where everyone wants to like help each other because at the end of the day, you're treating the same population. You want everyone to get better. There's no point in like gatekeeping knowledge. And it's so normal to like ask for a second
Yeah,
opinion. I actually like really enjoy when people ask me or like even I'm pretty sure people appreciate it when I ask them too
yeah.
for their opinion on certain stuff because it's good to know and like it's good for like networking too,
Mm.
like developing that rapport with other people in that same career path.
And hey, there's gonna be some stuff you have no idea what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, you don't know.
If
But at
yeah.
the end of the day, you're gonna learn it and you're gonna remember it.
Yeah.
So
If
don't
there's
worry.
one thing I know, it's that you don't know everything. And as I was like learning throughout second year and like I would come across something that's like I struggle with, I'm like, at least now I know what I don't know. I have peace in that.
Just eventually everything will kind of not blur together, but you kind of just compress everything together. You're just like I've seen this before. It looks similar. Let me try it.
Yeah.
And then you have your resources, you have other people.
Uh-huh.
So at the end of the day, everyone's contributing a little to the puzzle.
Yeah.
So that's it's like a case studies. A little bit, a little bit. So yeah, I guess it's a circle. It's a it's a circle of life, AT circle of life.
Not the Lion King reference.
But I guess like this is we don't have to touch too much on this, but like entering your third year now, like
Hmm.
how are you what are you looking back on? What are you expecting like personally? Like what are some comments or desires that you want to be fulfilled or done or whatever?
Um, Well, I hope to be like working with the full year sport just so like personally as we're getting ready to like write our CATA exam and become certified, I want to learn what it's like to like manage a full caseload and like learning how to prioritize like athletes who are injured over some athletes who are injured and knowing how to manage that throughout the year depending on like their schedule and really just like putting myself through the grinder if
Yeah.
that makes sense and also just like um being more
Yeah.
versatile as like an AT just because I've mostly just worked with like heavy contact field sports. I want to know what it's like to work within court sports, see how that differs, and also just applying what I've learned from like all my field experience to like court or ice, whatever it could be. Um, yeah, like I think just being in that kind of head therapist kind of role and really honing in on the kind of responsibilities we would have in terms of decision making for the athletes. And yeah, I'm pretty excited for like third year, I'm not gonna lie.
Mm. I'm very excited for third year. It'll be the first time I'm, I guess, a head therapist
Yeah,
for
yeah.
for a high level basketball team,
Mhm.
right? So, and basketball is my favorite sport,
Yeah.
so it it was just like the perfect match in a sense, right? So just knowing that I now have a lot more knowledge
Mhm.
and I guess an identity in athletic therapy, at least in our cohort,
Yeah.
I can start putting uh, my skill set to use.
Mhm.
And with that, I hope I can continue to learn and um, develop a relationship with my athletes. Because that's one of my favorite things. It's just developing something special with each one person you treat.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, uh, knowing that everything I just said. Third year is going to be, um, I hope it comes sooner rather than later. But
Really?
yeah, I'm really excited for
Mm,
it.
true.
But at the same time, I'm not letting my current placement let go slip out of my fingers just yet.
Yeah,
I love what I'm doing right now
really.
with football.
Uh-huh.
It's it's not as high level as you are, but it's like it's like it's your development league, you know?
Yeah,
So
no,
I'm
it's
okay
still
with that.
something. It's
Yeah.
still football at the end of the day.
Hey,
Everything happens in
I
football.
love I love what I've been seeing. I
Yeah.
love my supervisor. She's great, and
Mhm.
it's everything that I can continue to learn from her and the clinic I'm volunteering at.
Yeah.
Amazing. Like I think everything will kind of accumulate and help mold me even better into the therapist I should be moving forward, you know?
Mhm.
So I'm excited.
Yeah, as much as like I am excited like you to like get into third year, I think it's important for us to like, really just live in
Yeah,
what we're doing right now.
live in the
Enjoy,
moment.
yeah, enjoy our time like as we're entering summer. And I'm really just like trying to enjoy the summer before entering third year. But nevertheless, like I am still pretty excited going into September. Excited to see like what will come out of the season, to be honest.
I guess what you can say is first year, love loved the learning aspect, loved meeting new people, like-minded people. Second year, sure, it was a huge learning curve,
Mm-hmm.
but I loved getting to travel,
Oh
loved
yeah.
getting to develop a new relationship with people outside of therapists, but
Mm-hmm.
athletes and coaches as well. And third year, you're doing second year stuff, but at a higher level of authority and autonomy.
Yeah.
So lot of there's a lot to look forward to in this program, especially with everyone and you interact with. So
Yeah.
I guess that's my way to summarize this program in two sentences.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. Do you want to go into the lightning round question?
Sure. I'm excited to hear what you what your answers are.
Okay, what's your favorite tape job?
Favorite tape job. My favorite tape job is the plantar fash.
Hmm.
Plantar fash is like if for those who don't know, it's like your foot looks like your foot should have an arch, like a bridge. But some people like me, we're flat-footed. That means we don't have an arch. The plantar fascia kind of makes an arch. It forces your foot into an arch shape. And I like that tape job so much because like no matter how ugly it looks, it works.
It's like when you step into the sand and then when you take your
Yeah.
foot off, it looks like a platypus.
Yeah.
Trying to prevent that.
Exactly. But I think it's just such a fun tape job. Like you make what? Teardrops, raindrops, whatever. Yeah. I love making those. It's just wrapping around the heel. Like it's so fun. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, no matter how ugly it looks, you ask your athlete, "How does it feel?" Oh my God, there's an arch. Like it works.
My
So
foot feels supported.
so yeah, I love that tape job because it works no matter what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, very true.
Yours?
Ankle. That was the
Mm.
first tape job I learned, and I would go home after like first year and just make all of my family sit on the chair, and I'm like, "Let me tape your ankle. Let me do it right now." And I just think it's fun. It's taping is like art.
Yes.
You really have to learn how to like be one with the tape. That sounds so corny, but like you do. And just don't fight the tape. That's how I really started learning how to like tape properly. And also like I just had so much pride in making it look
Oh
nice.
my God, you
Um
do.
and I also think it's like as long as you learn how to tape an ankle and understand like all of the functional anatomy that goes into that, you can apply that to like pretty much every other tape job. And there's a lot of creativity with it too. Like if it just happened like on the field, you can add like a foam pad and make it acute versus chronic and learning how to like change it up as you go. I also think that's how you learn how to not cut off someone's circulation. Um, and really learning how to like adjust the ankle tape job
For
too.
sure.
I
Yeah.
also think it's like the most common tape job
It's
I
the
do.
first one you learn.
Yeah, it's the first one you learn
And
because
it's the
it's
one
so
you do the
common.
most.
Yeah, yeah, I can't even tell you how many ankles I've taped in like one day, to be honest.
Let's not go there.
Yeah.
Favorite sport to watch and cover. I'll have you go first on this one.
Okay. Um, my favorite sport to watch is football. I play football, so I just understand like what's going on the field, and I'm just like a big football junkie. Like I don't know how to explain it. I really like whenever NFL starts, I try not to make plans on like Monday and Thursday nights and the whole entirety of Sunday because I'm like, no one bother me. I'm trying to watch.
Locked in.
But my favorite sport to cover is rugby. I think I really enjoyed like this past year. I love how chaotic it is. It really keeps me on my toes and I don't get bored. There's always something that's happening and as it's very like fearful at first, just running onto the field whenever something happens, but that's something you learn as you go. And I love the culture too.
hmm
Yeah.
For me, it's basketball to watch. Big basketball head here.
Mhm.
I have another podcast. Not me name dropping.
Yeah. The self-promotion is crazy.
But basketball is just something I've been watching for years now, ever since I was like a kid. So and being able to play it as well, and unfortunately not that tall, but I think just watching the next generation of players come in was just like so amazing to see because these are kids our age now, and watching them succeed at such a high level like inspires me to achieve and succeed at a high level as well in
Yeah.
what I do. In terms of cover, it's football. I've actually loved, especially the last few days. I'm gonna be honest. Football athletes are so funny.
A lot of character.
Yeah, they're so funny, man, and the injuries that you could see, the stuff that you
Everything.
see, it's everything, man. I've already covered concussion.
Hmm.
I've done elbow, I've done ankles, and I've done knees.
Yep.
Yep. So this was 2 days of work already,
Yep. Sounds about right.
and I love how I guess how dramatic they are as well. The other day, one of my athletes went down and clutching their stomach, and then I ran on, and he was just like, "Nah, bro. I think I got
Got winded.
I think I got winded." And then I was like, "No, bro, we stopped practice for all this." And then I'm like, "You sure you're good?" "Yeah, man, I'm good." He just ran off. I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Doing, bro?"
Yeah.
Wasting my energy, wasting your energy. No, but they're cool. I love covering football. It's so fun.
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is. Okay. Next question. So, what's the minimum hours of sleep you need to function on the field or in clinic?
So, I'm not someone who's I can survive without I've pulled two-nighters, two whole,
Two?
yeah, uh and not healthy for my body.
Oh, yeah.
But thankfully no practice on those days. If I did need practice or field or whatever, I have done 2 3 hours of sleep before because I
Yeah.
remember coming back from I think Waterloo area before. Everyone was just sleeping on a bus, and I'm out here just you just hear my laptop because I'm doing my critical
Yeah.
appraisal.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Oh, big time.
that the next day we had practice. It was a Sunday,
Yeah.
so didn't get much sleep when I got home, but I
Yeah.
was still able to cover it. Needed my coffee though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I can do to cover practice in clinic. I think 2 hours is 3 hours is minimum, but I prefer my 6 7 hours. And yours?
That's funny. I laugh, but it's like the same
Yeah.
thing. The minimum I've gone, this only happened like once or twice, where I've had to do like field work after running on like 2.5 hours of sleep. Not by choice. I really tried to get like 6 to 7 hours of sleep that night, and it just did not happen. And like as time, like when you can't sleep,
Mhm.
so then as time goes on, you just become like frustrated and stressed out.
Yeah.
I was like kind of getting stressed out as like the night went on and like I just could not go to sleep. And I was just like my biggest concern, I wasn't even like anxious for like field coverage. I was just anxious about like not waking up on time to like get there on the field. I ended up doing it. I ended up fine, but oh my gosh, I just had like the best nap as soon as I got home. And yeah, I would say minimum 2.5. I wouldn't
2.5.
want to do it again. Not by choice, but I would probably want at least like 6 hours minimum.
Minimum,
Minimum,
minimum.
minimum.
Speaking of sleep, what's your preferred method of caffeination to stay awake?
Coffee.
Coffee,
Coffee through and through. Every single morning. First thing I do when I wake up is make myself a cup of coffee. If
not your espresso machine.
I know it sounds like a spaceship. But yeah, no, like I need coffee, and if I don't have coffee, like I'll have an energy drink if I'm like really desperate. But but if I'm like really tired, I'd probably have like two coffees a day, which is like that's really bad.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and like sometimes like I would work out before drinking coffee. So this was when I used to take pre-workout. So
Full of caffeine.
yeah, and it would be like long days because it would be like workout in the morning and then we have placement after class and everything. So it would be like pre-workout, and then after the workout I'd have coffee, go to school, and then if I'm really tired and I still have work to do, I would probably drink another coffee. That was really bad. I would like I would be doing nothing and I stopped doing it when I noticed like I started twitching like out of nowhere. And I'm like, ooh, this needs to stop. So I'm a water girly now.
Sure you are. Sure you are.
I have water right here.
You were drinking coffee earlier.
I know, and
Don't,
this is full.
don't lie to the listeners. For me, I like tea a lot. Every morning, Isabel can vouch. I have two water bottles. One is for water, another one's for green tea. The tea keeps me awake, even though I'd burn my tongue.
No,
Yeah,
no.
but usually tea is for my normal day. It usually lasts the whole morning, and then I take water the rest of the day through. If it's really bad though, that's when I buy coffee. But aside from that, I don't really usually go for any other energy drink or
Yeah,
a caffeinated drink. I just like my tea. Tea's nice. Tea soothes my throat.
true.
Yes, sir.
What's your threshold when you like know to get coffee?
You know when you like yawn like really hard and like tears start forming along your eyes? Yeah, if
Are you
I
okay?
if I do that twice, that's the sign I need coffee.
Yeah. Mine is pretty much when I get the comment, "Hey, you look really tired." And then my jaw will drop and then I'm like, "Okay, I'll get coffee."
Time to use the espresso machine.
Okay, next
Yeah.
question. If you had a whole year to train for any Olympic sport that you've never played before, which one would it be? And you have to finish top three.
Top three. Shout out Talon for this
Yeah.
question. If I had to train, probably curling. Take okay, hear me out. Curling's like shuffleboard on ice. And back in the day, I did a lot of cleaning and retail,
Yeah.
so I'm okay with that, you know? I'm okay with doing the whole cleaning thing on the ice, the
Mhm.
whole sweeping, so I'll take I'll take curling as my choice of sport.
Wow,
Yeah.
domestic.
And yours?
My
No football.
I know. Well, that's gonna be in 2028, but um so this is inspired by the Disney movie Cool Runnings. So it would be bobsledding. Only team only.
Okay, okay.
Just because I don't weigh enough for the mobile to like go anywhere
Yeah.
or just like get enough velocity or momentum. But yeah, essentially like with it for context, like in the movie, um they originally did the Olympic trials for like track, but then they ended up entering the Winter Olympics for like bobsledding and they came like in the top three. I think they won the whole thing.
Wait, what?
This is
Actually,
a Disney movie.
based on a true story.
But yeah, I would probably do that.
I could see you. I could see you. So that's the one where you're like supine, not
Yeah,
prone, right? Okay.
yeah. And I only say this because like I used to run track, so I'm like, oh, if they could do it, I could do it. Clearly in a movie.
Not based on real life.
Yeah.
All right. If you were to name your child after a body part, say the nickname followed by the real name.
I have two.
Okay.
Okay, the first one is Luna, and then the second one is Patty.
I can kind of figure out what you're talking about.
So Luna is a very common name that people name like their dogs, but it would be a nickname for lunate bone, like within your
There is.
wrist, and then Patty for patella.
Oh my God. Um, Tracy for trachea. I think that's just
Okay.
I think that's just really funny. And there's another one. Navi for navicular. Because I don't know, man. I think those just two really nice names that come from two very distinct body parts.
It's like the Family Guy scene or the Family Guy episode.
What's it? It's like, oh, hey Meg. Wait, that's not. Oh, hey Megan. Wait, that's not my name. Oh, what is it? Megatron.
I feel so bad for whoever actually has that on their government name. The shame in like signing stuff. Oh my gosh. I feel bad.
Those are the people that initial, not sign their name.
Yeah. Short form. Or it's enough of a scribble so you can't
You
really
can't
like
tell,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Okay, last question.
Yeah.
What is your most
Oh.
embarrassing or funniest clinic or field story?
So this was my first game as an AT.
Mm-hmm.
Uh I'm just observing the men's soccer team. We're at Laurier, I think.
Yeah.
And then one of the guys comes off with the calf cramp. And then I've told you this story before. And then my head therapist, she goes up to him. She's just like, "Yo, stretch this out, take some mustard. Yeah, use some mustard." And I'm standing there baffled. I look to the men's head therapist. I turn to him, I'm like, "What does mustard do?" And he tells me, "Oh, it's like helps with electrolytes and everything." Wait, so she's gonna smear the mustard on his calf? And they both look at me. They're just like, "What did you just say?" And then that's the day I realized you actually eat the mustard. And I, you know what's so funny? Yesterday, one of my athletes got a calf cramp, so I gave him my mustard packet. And then one of the other athletes was just like, "Yo, you're not gonna smear that on his leg for him?" I'm just like, "No, you eat it."
At least you know someone has the same kind of mindset.
Exactly,
At least you
exactly.
know you're not crazy.
I'm not
Because
alone.
when you told me this, I was laughing so hard. I'm like, why would you just smear a condiment on someone? Why?
Oh.
Like, why would you do that? And I think we talked about this before. Like, imagine being at IKEA
Oh.
and then you have to like pump the mustard and like, oh, like my forearm's cramping. Let me just.
Oh my God.
That is like
Yeah.
embarrassing, but
Yeah.
also funny.
It's also really fun. And yours?
Oh my gosh. I was first responding for a football game and these guys are like over 6 feet tall. And for context, I'm 5 feet. So when they're running and they're just looking straight, and mind you, they're wearing helmets. So one of the players got hurt on the field. So I ran onto the field. The play stopped. So no one's really running that I know of. And I'm running onto the field, and then one of the players didn't see me as they were running. So then he ran right into me, and I like bounced off of him like a bouncy ball when you hit it off a wall. Luckily, I didn't fall, or else that would have been so
Did
much
did you
worse.
spin?
No, I just kind of just like got knocked over.
Oh,
Not knocked over, but like I got a shoulder.
your shoulder.
Yeah. Um, but it was fine for the most part. It was just like in my head, I was like, oh, I hope no one saw that, but I'm pretty sure there's like
The
a
video
video
footage.
because there's a videographer for that. And I don't think he got that, but we'll see.
Just
If I,
ask him.
yeah, if I ever get the video, I'll be sure to like maybe not put it out there. I don't want to expose myself.
Just show me.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I guess that's like my funniest or like most embarrassing field
Yeah,
story.
being in this profession, you get a lot of funny moments, I'd say. Yeah, like obviously there's way more, especially in the classroom. We'll leave that for another day, but in the meantime, I guess we can end it from here,
Yeah.
right?
So like what do you want to tell the viewers in terms of like what they can look forward to in the future?
Oh, definitely. We'll be bringing on some guests, some other student and certified ATs.
Hmm.
Maybe they can shed some more light on their experiences as a York alumni or alumni from another program.
Hmm.
But overall, just anyone who works with us, works as us, and works, I guess,
Adjacent.
yeah, adjacent to us, you know?
Like we can get like some coaches on here. Maybe
Maybe some like physios, maybe
yeah.
some chiros. That'd be
Hmm.
really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. We will be setting up like an Instagram account and an email address so you can send us messages in terms of like what you want to hear from us. Very open to like whatever people suggest as long as it's appropriate. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it for today.
Well, thanks for listening, and that's a wrap.
Bye.